you know, mixed feelings all in there. A lot of people quoting, no, they're wrong, they're right. I think the outcome of the game influenced a lot of that decision. But either way, it was a bold strategy. It was planned, and it did pay off. So Sean's and Nukeduck even came out and said that they took hours, you know, working on that draft, and eventually they got what they wanted, and that's what you want in League of Legends.
It looked a lot crisper. Origen, a team that started to come together a little bit more too, started their week off with a win. Both these teams looking to add one more to that tally. So the Lulu, Fiora banned away on Origen's side. The Alistar is banned away by Vitality here. We'll see what's next.
Yeah, what I wonder is just where is this Gangplank ban fitting in, pretty much. Is Origen going to do it as a third ban, or otherwise they were pretty much obliged to first pick it? Because, I mean, many players have come out and said that Nukeduck is one of the better Gangplank players, if not the best in the West, and that's why Origen just now have banned it as their third ban.
Yeah, but what's interesting is we see no AD carries banned away, nor the Jungle Graves AD carry choice, and of course with Cabochard you've got Lucian mixed in there as well. There's the first, it's the Kalista. With the Alistar banned away, it's still popular but a little less powerful in conjunction. They don't want to give it up as a first pick, so probably expect the Lucian here, don't you think?
Yeah, we can definitely see an early Lucian being picked up here, as you correctly predicted, because obviously once you start hitting those power picks, that leaves Corki open though on the side of Vitality. They have both supports to choose from. Allegedly, or people were thinking yesterday, you know, why didn't they ban the Alistar? Because then only Thresh is available, because Braum was off the table too, and then some of the stronger supports. Look at the jungle, obviously we see Shook hover it right here. Nidalee has been rising in appreciation from a lot of teams, and myself included, mostly because people have taken a slightly different approach to her and just take a very farm-centric playstyle where when the enemy jungler goes for a level 3 clear into gank, you basically keep clearing. If that gank fails, you put yourself so far ahead in terms of clear speed that you'll be level 4.5 when he's about 3.2, and then you just so far ahead of the curve that you will win the duels and you take control of the enemy jungle and use vision. That's why Nidalee has been rising as a power pick.
Yes, indeed. And for Shook, it should play right up his preferences. We know he does like to go a little bit ham sometimes, but as you mentioned, there's a lot of late game possibility here. The Corki's also picked up. I want to see what OG finishes their bot lane out. The Braum Lucian is a very strong thing, and it also hides the rest of their lanes for now. Yeah,
and it gives you protection against that poke. We are already seeing a double poke / siege composition, or anything that groups up very well. Braum plays well into that, because you can deny wave clear if you get siege upon, you can deny poke on your AD carry with the shield. If you look at Vitality right now, I like the choice for Nidalee on Shook, because Nidalee is a really good shadowing jungler. She can kind of find the enemy jungler and then 1v1 and keep him busy, and that can enable later on Cabochard, who may get the last pick here on Vitality's purple side, especially if we see PowerOfEvil locking that Ahri. Then it's very easy for Vitality. Pick Nukeduck's pick right now, wait for Cabochard for the last rotation, and then suddenly Vitality have a really easy draft.
Very bold choice for PowerOfEvil, the very quick second rotation pickup of his mid lane. And Ahri, a champion that he's only played twice now. Yesterday was his arguably best assassin performance since IEM San Jose.
Yeah.
And I mean, that speaks to confidence, but it's too much.
It makes you wonder why, because right now there's a possibility. Is that already locked in? Okay,
yeah, it's a bar.
I think we can throw the possibilities out the window though, because we've seen the Zilean come out. But there was a potential LeBlanc kind of pick, then forced the AD carry Corki. But seems like Vitality have different things planned here with mid lane Zilean and the Instalag Bard.
Oh yes, indeed. A lot of damage we've been seeing off that Zilean. The Storm Raider Surge being very popular on it.
So the way
bombs for days.
Yeah, the way you work with Zilean is obviously make maximum usage of the double bomb mechanic, which means your build really wants to have a lot of CDR in it. We saw some buffs to CDR items on the 6.2 unit. Athene, Morel and Omicron have been improved, a lot more cost efficient right now. So definitely able to be picked up there. And overall, you have the revive if Origen do go for that single target burst with Ahri and Lucian. Yeah, it makes sense somewhat. I did want to see, however, though, how well KaSing performs on the Bard, because it's a very complex champion in terms of how to play it against different compositions, and it's not that easy to play against these hyper-mobile champions like Ahri, like Lucian with a dash and an additional flash.
Not to mention you've got the Malphite causing all kinds of problems. We have seen how powerful just a single unstoppable force can be, and it looks like Amazing has locked in as well. Yes, Rek'Sai is up there, but it's also kind of almost more comfortable for him. It's one of his best champions score-wise, and he definitely knows how to work the ins and outs of it. So a very, very mobile composition from OG will be hard for Vitality to get the angle on.
Yeah, and just for people wondering, Nukeduck is not picking still. That champion is locked in. A little graphical error right there. We're waiting for Cabochard. Traditionally, he plays more carry-oriented champions that can then get a split push advantage on the Malphite. Yesterday, we saw an example of that against Elements with Nautilus, not being really the carry champion, but has a split push edge. Right now, I'm wondering what he will pick up. He's played Fiora, Graves, Kennen, Olaf, and Lucian so far. And Olaf could technically fit in here, especially if you get the speed up from Zilean. But then we have no tank presence whatsoever.
Yeah, I was going to say the Graves is still up. You're right, there's no tankiness, but there is a Tempered Fate. There is ways they can work around it. You've got the Zilean ultimate as well to kind of extend these fights. I think it's still very bold, though, for both of these teams.
No, I like the Graves pickup because the way top lane Graves operates, it is literally AFK push. You keep shoving in those waves, and that, again, the Shook Cabochard synergy right now will be incredibly hard to deal with for Origen, because one of the leading questions we had in our preparation for this match is what is Amazing going to do against Shook's so defined jungle style? Is he going to counter jungle? Is he going to try and gank top? If you look at the combination, Rek'Sai Malphite has no business even considering a 2v2 in the top lane. So Amazing will need to look to snowball Zven or PowerOfEvil, and then in turn, how will Soaz react playing on an island? Against Cabochard and Shook, he may fall very far behind in CS.
He may indeed. This is going to be absolutely crazy as the coaches shake hands, or about to shake hands and walk off field. However, we've got the comps locked in. It's time to load up and see which lineup is OP.
If you don't give them Lulu or Kalista, I still think they are a middle of the table team.
Vitality's early game is not the best.
Hjarnan, though, is unfortunately caught out, throws the traps.
They somehow managed to crawl back into the game.
It was just enough with KaSing coming up.
None of their players seem to be like even that good right now, except for Zven.
The biggest threat of Vitality is, I think, the individual players. So I think we just need to get a good early game for Vitality and we are good to go.
Becky both played better in the game and had like better understanding. I actually think Origen aren't that good still.
There we have it. As the lineups take the field, OG and Vitality, one game separates these two right now.
And before we head into that game, Pyra, some choice words from Nukeduck.
Oh yeah.
Becca was better in the game, had a better game understanding. They don't have Lulu or Kalista. They can't get carried by their composition. He's now playing the Zilean, so yeah, time to put up or shut up for Nukeduck. He is the bomb right now.
Yes, he is, but both these mid laners are going to be looking to make some plays around the map, not just in that lane. Double teleport for both comps.
All right, early move from Vitality's bot lane there, moving up, engaging the lane swap, putting Graves in the lane swap with double jungling with Nidalee. It feels almost that they predict the lane swap from Origen. That's why they're here so early, and they kind of want to mind game them, because I think in standard lanes they should win out, because Graves should have the push on Malphite. The ganking potential shouldn't be there from Rek'Sai, so that's one tick box one. Zilean should be fine in mid lane, and Bard Corki can lane fine into Lucian Braum, in my opinion. I may be delusional there in terms of the matchup, but I think this is a failed predict from Vitality on the lane swap.
Yeah, not seeing any information. Neither of them were looking to go in any further, so...
We can see it usually after the Gromp gets done, where Graves moves. If he moves into the bot lane, then it's probably that he predicts that the lane swap's going to happen. And yeah, see, we see him move in, and he probably expects Malphite to be there. Generally, what we see then is like, oh, it's failed lane swap predict, guys. I'll walk back into the jungle and start double jungling. So that's generally how you can decide whether you're right or wrong in terms of predicts.
And everyone gets to lane a little bit later since they were grabbing their respective jungle camps. So with Cabochard in a 1v2 situation here, how does this change the face of the early game if he gets away?
Greedy Cabochard. Got 5 CS, he won a 6, and now he'll have to flash.
Oh, yeah, he's done. He may not get a chance there. There's the flash going. Mithy takes a lot more damage than he bargained for, but they deal it back.
So yeah, Cabochard got 5 creeps down, which is kind of unheard of in a lane swap early pathing to the lane because of Graves. You know, that's what we talked about, the push potential. But then he wants number 6, and he ends up expending his summoner. But Soaz, he went to the lane, got a couple CS. Now he's pathing back to Amazing for double jungle. So Vitality, they're still ahead of the play since they initiated it, but it's not what they want.
Take a look. Our summoner's actually a little surprised since we see instead of the Storm Raiders, which, to be fair, is only an option, right? The Zilean has gone for the, of course, Thunderlord's mastery that we've seen less and less of, but still freaking fun.
Yeah, more dueling power early. You know, double bomb into all attack should proc Thunderlords and gives you a nice amount of damage. We'll need to see how adept Nukeduck is in the Zilean pick, because there's a big difference between mediocre Zilean players and actual Zilean gods, because they just use the overlapping zones of those two bombs very well. They don't aim both bombs at the same place. They maybe put one on the creep, one on you. Suddenly those rings touch and everybody gets stunned. It's a really powerful teamfight mechanic.
Vitality definitely have some strong mid-game fights, especially a lot of explosive power. Nidalee can deal a lot of damage the way she's built even into the later stages of the game. Right now, Vitality doing the very standard thing, the trades back and forth on the towers. They're in for, after an awkward start, good old lane swap tower trade.
Yeah, in the lane swap tower trade, and this is something Cabochard does. Look at how Vitality is actually not bouncing the wave. He's just pushing it in straight away. He doesn't care about freezing. He doesn't care about potentially putting other people behind. In Vitality, in lane swap, Cabochard will nigh always push, put himself at a CS advantage.
Yeah, and he knows he can take on, or at least he trusts that he can take on the opposing number. He did this against Elements the other week, against Steve. Absolutely shut him down on that Lucian. Soaz is a different player, though.
Yeah, I need to see how Amazing reacts right here, because he has to stay, but obviously his camps are gone, because Shook took them. In the lane swap matchup, Nidalee spirals ahead in terms of pressure and camps, because she can clear faster, but it does hide the weaker duels, because obviously Nidalee will never find or see the Rek'Sai, so it kind of becomes just a clearing race.
Yeah. I mentioned there was a trade, but Origen didn't quite finish off that bottom tower, so they're actually at a gold disadvantage here. Vitality mentioned they did initiate, they were a little bit quicker on the draw, and that's what got them so far there.
Yeah, and that's why Vitality also just rushed that tower down. They saw that they could trade, you know, maybe a kind of awkward lane positioning to keep their tower alive, and then by all means, it is the best choice. And Amazing tried to go for a gank in the top lane, he tried to get on our minimap, but he couldn't quite find Cabochard. Cabochard played with just enough amount of respect, and now suddenly Vitality are in a really good position, because Shook can now find Amazing in the jungle with a level advantage, as expected.
And nails him with the spear, gets the jump over. There's another tunnel, but Shook can follow him right there. He's got to get under tower and get safe within the minion range, so he's out, but he took a lot of damage there, and now his jungling will be interrupted.
Yeah, and look at Vitality. They just understand this early game so well. I was a little perplexed as to why, you know, why not bounce that wave and then push it back out. It's tempo, literally getting ahead of the play, forcing Origen to react in very predictable patterns. We know that Shook took the left side of the jungle. We know that Amazing was there on vision. What's Amazing gonna do? Right side. Shook clears his jungle quicker, still has time to move over and duel Amazing. In essence, shadowing now KaSing and Hjarnan, who can then start sieging on the bot lane tower. Meanwhile, all this action, everybody revealed. Yeah, then in the top lane, Cabochard can play the push game against Soaz.
So aggressive in all of these lanes right now. You can see Hjarnan's going to have to push back for just a second, but still he's got all those healing shrines available to him. Vitality, for having one tower, they're pushed so far forward without any danger to themselves. It's actually incredible.
Yeah, and right now we should see pings come out on Amazing, because he just passed a ward there on the minimap. You could see Cabochard immediately backs off. We're praising Vitality right now, but they need to force something more, though. If they don't really find another tower go down or make another pick, then Soaz will hit critical mass at level 6. He can teleport in and do a lot more than the Graves with that targeted CC. And that's why Vitality looks to be setting up a dive here. Maybe teleport from Cabo.
There's a teleport from Cabo coming in on that warded rush. They don't know it's coming until right about now, but that is going to be Soaz coming
level
in.
5.
Level 5 does not have his ult. Zven and Mithy are going to have to crazy outplay this, but that was enough to deter the action from Vitality.
Yeah, because if you look at the top lane right now, the minions right there, it's an empty lane, but it's going to push back. It's going to bounce towards Vitality. So if you trade teleports evenly, and you can back off, and everything goes back to even steady waves, suddenly a big wave will mass up in the top lane. So Origen only have one choice. Use that wave for pressure, see if they can force something somewhere else on the map. Vitality, they just lean back, go back into their jungle. Shook starts clearing again, and Cabo, he passed top to later pick up that juicy farm.
Cabo continuing to get that pressure on. He's actually a little bit behind in farm compared to Soaz, but that's because of the early teleport and the fact that he had to back off due to Amazing coming up. It's really not all that significant to start things off, but that 800 gold has really made a big difference since Vitality's been able to keep the pressure on this bottom side for so long. No need to really take any neutral objectives, but you're right, they do need to start trying to get more catches and picks before Soaz is able to do a whole lot. His teleport will be down for a while, but PowerOfEvil 7. Curious to see how they continue to push this aggression.
I mean, the numbers say that he's behind, but that's without calculating just right here. You know, we have about 10, maybe 12 range creeps and a couple of melees and a cannon.
True.
Once he just presses Q a couple of times, that wave will evaporate and Cabochard will have a CS lead again. And right now, it wasn't Shook near him that made it happen, but it was Shook revealing the enemy jungler and Origen unable to really challenge him. They're still hanging on though. Origen kept this 1k gold lead the same from 7 to 8, 8 to 9. Right now, 11 to 12. So Vitality will need to see if they can chip away at these towers a little more and find an opening.
For this Vitality team, has looked very crisp in most of their games, more of them so than Origen, but Origen yesterday playing an incredibly controlled style, one that we actually considered to be more endemic of this Vitality squad, just the slow burn. And Vitality themselves were a lot quicker on the draw, 32 minutes to beat G2 eSports.
Yeah, Vitality came out swinging. I mean, G2 did help them with that poor engage in the mid game, but Vitality was playing a later game-oriented competition too, so they didn't really mind. And yeah, Origen yesterday definitely played slow and secure. One could argue almost too slow. Haven't really talked about this mid lane matchup too much. We see Catalyst finished here into the Abyssal Rush on Ahri, so it looks like Nukeduck has control of this matchup though. Most of the time he's the one pushing.
Yeah, a lot of smash talk at the very beginning about these two matching up, but they're definitely looking to make plays on the map with that double TP, but Shook is looking to make plays in Amazing's jungle. Slows down that blue buff take.
And I wonder what Nukeduck will be going for. As we see the epic duel of wards here. Is Nukeduck going Rod of Ages into the Athenes on Holy Grail? Or Rod of Ages into a tier perhaps? Stack up that Archangels.
Very late build.
Seen. Yeah, look at how Nidalee is using the enemy jungler and claiming it as her own, while leaving camps up to always retreat to. That is the playstyle you want on Nidalee jungler. You want to get a farm advantage, then out-level your opponent, then duel him. That's what we see happening right here. Amazing is still desperately looking for a gank, but he's constantly being revealed in the early stages of the setup, which means he can't force anything, and so as he's Malphite, so a very predictable engage. Malphite will walk up as he wants to engage. Cabochard has dash and flash. It's becoming very hard for Origen to, react to what Vitality is doing to them in the early game.
Yeah, we talked about early on, you know, Amazing was the one who needed to be doing the counter jungling to be able to get early pressure and prevent Vitality from doing their aggressive moves. But it's Shook who's been causing all that pressure, and as a result, Amazing can't move without his own jungle without being spotted. Rift Herald down, completely free. There's no way Origen can really get here to contest it. They'd be spotted a mile off. And they're not really getting any counter pressure. PowerOfEvil was backed, still clear duty for Soaz. Vitality are very much controlling the tempo of this early game.
And a signature move right here, the relatively late Rift Herald for Vitality's sake, an early one for everybody else. It just further enhances the strategy that they're using right here. Just makes the Graves push a little better. He can also hold waves a little easier if Origen decides to group. Hjarnan is still looking towards his first power spike. I mean, Corki does get outscaled by Lucian, obviously, later on. But up to the drive force, that's the strong point where Corki actually wins. So, Vitality, strong early game. Talked to Shans a little bit before the match. He said, in his typical French accent, which I will not attempt to reproduce here, but he said basically, 20-minute game. Hang on, Amazing.
Yeah, it might be a little quicker than that for just a minute. They immediately take the magical journey, and the TP is canceled from Soaz, so they can breathe a sigh of relief there. But back to Shans.
Yeah, Sean said pretty much, you can go make a coffee at the start of the game, and it'll still be hot by the time we're finished. So, some bold moves. As we saw that engage there, something cool you can do with Bard is actually overextend for a river pick, because you actually have an additional escape path using the portal always, and nobody can follow. You never chase into a magical journey. That's rule number one.
Yeah, I trust your judgment on that for sure. And now Shook is down to the bottom. They want to get some more aggro before they can push a TP coming in. It's Cabochards now, or is it Nukeducks? I couldn't quite see. Cabo, no, Zven goes down. First blood, Mithy is gonna follow. A double kill for the Graves. That's a hell of a way to get started, but PowerOfEvil is trying to 1v4. He brought Amazing to the party though, but he goes down. A triple kill for Graves, and the Tempered Fate will mean Amazing's gone now. Green's Wrath knockup, but it's not enough. Nukeduck takes a kill, and that is a great move for Vitality.
Yeah, that's coffee in French, what he did there. Sign language. That leaves us with a lot of questions this fight. Yeah, sorry to kill the hype.
Oh, that was good. That's good.
The fight carried it, but where was Soaz, first of all? And Soaz, if you look at it, he doesn't have teleport available. I'll get back to that point later. Second question is, where's PowerOfEvil in this mix? Look at it right now. Nukeduck is already initiating their own because he has pushed in mid lane. Look at where Nukeduck is on the map. Look at how long it takes for PowerOfEvil to react. At this point, 2 Origen members are dead. Cabochard has a double kill. Nukeduck times the ultimate. At this point, Frost. We talked about it in Champs League. All single target kind of smackdown burst doesn't work into a Zilean, especially if you're playing from behind. Soaz had to use the teleport, likely, to defend top lane because he was under Rift Herald pressure, or he was under pressure from the Graves push continuously. So to keep his tower alive, he used teleport, while Vitality used teleport advantage to force on the other side of the map. Suddenly, Cabochard has 3 kills, and the game may very well be over already.
Crisper timings, better moves. And Cabochard reaped the biggest benefit of it all. 3 of those kills. Now he's got his Ghost Blade completed. He's going to have so much pushing power, and Soaz is going to have a hard time dealing with him. Should call in Amazing for more help, but he's busy on the bottom side. They still haven't taken this bottom tier 1. Origen are lackadaisical in that.
Because Vitality put a very high priority here on wave clear to play this very, very push-heavy style. They have been almost entirely pushing all 3 lanes at once. Zilean has been winning the push war against Ahri with that early catalyst too, to just get the sustain every time you level up. Top lane Graves, yeah, no wonder he outpushes Malphite. And then Corki, combined with a range support that can poke and sustain, yeah, that will outpush a Braum who's a melee support. So thematically, it's very hard for Origen to come back. They need to unite and use their hard engage, layer their CCs, their crowd control effects, to then kill Vitality. But because they're also single target focused, Vitality can use Zilean ultimate. So it's a very hard right now for Origen to really find a creative opening that Vitality can't predict and counter.
Yeah, it's got so much pressure on. You know what it reminds me of, really? SK Gaming from the spring split were able to easily push lanes 1-3-1 quite to their heart's content. They relied very well. I mean, this is textbook like that.
SK Gaming spring split, triple push, and their jungle would invade the enemy jungle. That was Svensken. You know what? One of his favorite champions, even when she wasn't in the meta, that was Nidalee. Again, this style has been played before, but Vitality have recognized when to use it and are using it to great effect.
There's one difference, though, one key difference between spring split, SK Gaming, and Vitality today: the warding.
Yeah.
Svensken was never known until it became a little bit more apparent towards the end of summer how important wards were. And Vitality have been using so many solid deep wards and covering their own edges as well. Cabochard is in a little bit of trouble there, but he's got some backup from Shook.
I mean, Tracker's Knife does help with that.
Very true.
And
the game has definitely changed a bit.
No more obligatory Sightstone by either on the jungler, so the warding patterns have been kind of gone on easy mode.
Don't have to beg people in dynamic queue anymore to buy wards.
No.
Except pink ones.
Yeah, buy Vision Wards, guys.
Buy your Vision wards.
Speaking about Vision Wards, great topic, by the way. Only 2 so far from Vitality, 1 in the inventory of Shook. Something that Coach Sean's can still work on.
Goes Farm Alarm for Amazing. He hasn't been able to set up a flank this game onto Vitality. Rift Herald had been procced for just a second, but they're not going to try and take it right now. Way too many Origen members in the area.
And if you look at the build, Soaz went Gauntlet first, which means he's going for a fight approach. The general build on these tank split pushes is Gauntlet and Sunfire.
Yeah.
Usually you go Sunfire first to get the split push component in your build, and then you go for the dueling component, which is the Gauntlet. But Soaz rushed the Gauntlet. Indicative of Origen willing to just force a fight somewhere, because they know they can't win the split push race.
Oh, they let it that is annoying. They let it regenerate that one. So in all seriousness, they're just buying time. Vitality are trying to go towards the bottom side, get more coverage.
Yeah, good Tempered Fate here, reveals 2 people, reveals the Rift Herald, then go on the other side of the map for Deep Vision. Look at those 2 wards that they just placed. It's the perfect Deep Vision to enable who? Cabochard on the split push. Like, I know it gets all, but it's really nice that Vitality have identified their win conditions and they're just playing towards it, and Origen playing a relatively low wave clear draft yet again and getting punished for it. This is similar to something they did in the earlier weeks, week 2 I believe, when they picked like the Kassadin Rise.
Yep.
And yeah, they were like, yeah, if we get to a mid-game team fight, we will crush them. Well, the meta right now doesn't allow that. It's turret-centric. It is wave clear, at least push-centric, and Origen's composition lacks a little bit in that regard.
Very true. Vitality taking advantage of it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That is their motto. PowerOfEvil and Amazing are trying to hang on to this turret, but there are 4 Vitality members there, and they're going to take a beating. Origen are, rather. If they try to keep defending this one, you see Cabochard still pushing it on the bottom side. No pressure on the top, but the wave's already pushed. Zven's had to react to it. Complete control here.
I mean,
scale up.
The game is textbook right now. If OG don't find a flank, it is pretty much over, because if they engage from the front door, Zilean will revive whoever gets hit, and you're trying to engage on quadruple poke. Bard, Zilean, Nidalee, and Corki, and if Graves is there, penta poke.
Yeah.
So you kind of need to flank, but there's no deep vision because there's no pressure, so it's an impossible situation.
This is how you try to play that poke comp. We talked about how they don't have tanks as Soaz tries to duke it out with Cabochard, but the shotgun is mightier than the mech. And the spear forces the flash, and Cabo! 4 kills in the pocket ain't no thing. Amazing's there to defend, but Shook and Cabo keep on poking for a few more moments at the very least. Take a look. This mid lane as well. Still pressure there. It's Zven who's been able to push it up. To the top side, amazing. Step too far forward. Shook wants this one. Gets the heal on. Throws the spear. Doesn't connect. Cabo had to back away. Taking tower shots. There's the Tempered Fate to stop that. That's how you ohm rack it.
Yeah, that's really, really good use twice now from KaSing with the Temper Fate. Not going for the risky play where you don't have max range. Hit it on somebody. Nukeduck, a little overextended here.
Yeah, he uses his own
He
ultimate,
jukes
right?
by not moving.
Okay.
Classic. Sloppy play on both ends there, to be honest. But Nukeduck survives, which is the important part, and he's there for wave clear. But looking at the bottom lane, you can see that Origen just... I can't even say that they're not on the same page. I just think they know what they need to do, which is group a layered CC engage, but it's just, it won't happen. Vitality is simply not allowing it. And with this gold lead, OG will not find an opening unless they sneak in a D-port somewhere. Let's watch this again. Cabochard starting to duel with Soaz. At all times, does he know that he wins? Soaz's ultimate's still available, but he knows he just doesn't have damage to commit. Can't shoot back into the spear. Simple finish. Then they dive Shook and they use the Tempered Fate here to immobilize the turret. Also resets the stacking mechanism. So the next shot that comes out, I believe, is a very weak one again. So it's just really good use. Look where KaSing is. And he can influence the bottom lane with the Tempered Fate that he casts right now. Now it's flying. And it's going to land anytime soon.
Really solid. Shook managing to pick that kill up as well. So Vitality, another tower knocked down, this time in the middle. They were finally pecking away and got it. Sub 20 minutes into this game. The gold lead is 7,000. 5 towers to 1. They have that one dragon. They should easily be able to pick up another one. They've used the Rift Herald to great effect. What is this team doing wrong other than minor mistakes?
I mean, they've not made a single, like, mentionable mistake. They went for a dive in the bottom lane. They respected the counter TP. They went back to the lanes because the TP, even if they traded it, it forced a favorable minion wave situation in the top lane. Cabochard soaked it. They pressured it. With that pressure, they secured an easy, safe Rift Herald. With that Rift Herald, they pushed top lane in again, but harder, better, faster, stronger. And then Soaz was forced to use his teleport. Then they used that teleport advantage to force a play in the bottom lane, and then the game was pretty much over.
Yeah, so it is definitely looking rough for Origen. You know, we heard that they were saying, hey, you know, the things are just starting to click. We're just starting to get it together. But there seemed to be some hubris there. That quick lock-in of the Ahri, it's not the only reason they're doing poorly here, but clearly they aren't able to execute against Vitality, who have covered their bases. Played a complicated composition, but they've done it well. Now, Mithy is a little bit caught. One bomb connects, the other doesn't. But all of a sudden, just like a swarm of flies, Vitality are all on him, and he has to stand behind Zven.
Yeah, didn't quite catch Mithy there, but it's a bit annoying though to play against champions that you don't see that often, like a Bard, like a Zilean, because they just change your play patterns and they change what's supposed to work. Like if you play against a heavy poke siege comp and you have elements of Rek'Sai flash knock up into Malphite, into Ahri, charm flash with Braum peel, you can force a fight. The problem is you commit on one target and you expect to then have less abilities available but win the fight because you're 4v5. That entire mental check mark, or call it what you will, plan strategy, that flies out of the window against the Zilean.
Yeah.
Because he completely just resets the fight. You just use all your abilities, the guy comes up again, he uses his ultimate, and you will lose.
Not to mention, Vitality have never given them a chance to flank because they've been keeping the control of the map. The closest thing Origen could do right here is try to bait closer to the Baron and then get a TP out behind it. But Vitality never take unnecessary risk, we've seen. Like very, very rarely do they really go for these all-ins that if they lose, they fall behind. They're playing very methodically in most of their games, and you can see that despite the heavy pressure, despite all of this, what appears to be unbridled aggression, they're still controlling the pace of the game.
Yeah, definitely no Baron possible for Origen because the opportunity cost of that play will just be the fact that they will lose likely an inhib tower in the bottom lane. As for Vitality, the one critique a couple of people have had, including myself, is that the early game, mid game is crisp, but they lack some closing potential. So we need to just start, instead of talk about, you know, how Vitality's ahead, they're going to win this game, let's shift the discussion to how efficiently can they close right now? You know, how clean can they make it? Can they avoid dying? Because in essence, with this composition, they should. How quickly will the remaining tower in the mid lane fall? How quickly will they shift towards a Baron bait, which they need. A full composition like this needs a Baron buff to essentially make themselves stronger. But full compositions aren't notoriously bad at taking Baron, especially if they don't have a tank.
Right.
So now it gets a little bit tricky. This is where they can actually throw the game.
Yeah. I have a feeling they'll probably try to build themselves up an insurmountable lead before they even start looking at it, but that will be the end game plan. For Vitality, though, yes, they have not had the fastest games on record, but when they do win, they do tend to do it in a fairly timely fashion. I mean, 32-minute average is pretty much exactly what they hit yesterday against G2 in their wins. When they lose, it is slow and painful.
I mean, it's good, right? You want to lose slow and you want to win quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hallmark of a solid team. There's a reason they're sitting at 6-3, currently tied third in the standings with Fnatic Unicorns. Origen want to win to break into that pile, but at the moment, they're sitting on the outer edge of playoff.
I feel like even though they're tied with Fnatic in the standings, 6-3, that they're a better team. They seem to be at least a level up there.
They've definitely looked a little bit more impressive from the get-go. There were a couple of stumbling blocks, but you know they have managed to turn it all around and start this week off with a win. Of course, then a very impressive one over G2 eSports. That they can do it again against Origen, despite Origen having a rough start in and of themselves. It continues that statement. Yes, we are a super team here in Europe. Yes, we are a very powerful force, and all those guys at the top of the table have to watch out for us.
They are abusing a similar trait here, though, that they did against G2, is the fact that the top laner is stuck on a tank versus a Cabochard Shook duo, which is really good at putting pressure and then exploiting that pressure. And tanks generally can't outpush some of these champions that Cabo plays, like the Aura, like the Graves, these high pressure champions, and then you're forced into almost, a hard engage. And then yesterday against G2, they forced a hard engage too. It failed on the side of G2, and then suddenly Vitality capitalized. Playing the exact same style right now, controlled with vision. Baron is completely de-warded except for one. Has to be a blue ward almost in the Baron pit. It's actually a green one that's about to fade. At that point, Baron vision will be gone, and then it becomes a lot trickier for Origen.
Taking it all away. Shook with that red buff there. So we've talked about how Origen can get back in, but it's so reliant on Vitality mistakes. The Baron throw, leaving a lapse in vision. What proactively can Origen do realistically here to force those errors and try to come in with a big combination starting with Soaz?
Cross map deep vision, force them to shift back to the other side where you just deep vision, and then force the fight. The problem is Vitality is very mindful of where wards could be. So instead of that, let's just take a look at the builds. We were wondering what is Nukeduck going to be. It is actually the Rod of Ages into the Royal Omicron with CDR boots. It's definitely what you want. You want to max out CDR if you can on Zilean, because you definitely want as many double bomb combos as you can, because it's such an annoying mechanic to play against. And it changes your perception of teamfights if you're a frontliner, because you can actually screw over your backline if you bring the bomb towards them. And especially if you then allow the stun mechanic to happen.
You can see Origen also prioritizing pretty heavy magic positions, considering the triple AP damage coming out of Vitality Squad. One locket already completed, another one probably on the way.
Yeah, or a banner.
Yeah, well, you could have the banner. It doesn't help Braum as much, but still.
It helps the split push, at least setting up pressure in side lanes to maybe force one member of Vitality away, and then we can see hardcore engage. If you look at Cabochard, though, he's building the Maw of Memortius, no longer the Sterix Gauge. And it's really good against his lineup where the engaged components all bring magic damage, which means the passive will proc, he'll get the magic shield, and in addition to that, obviously, he will get the life grip passive where you get attack speed, spellbound, and life steal until you're out of combat.
Ooh,
Speaking of combat,
did not want to step into that one. He's going to have to throw the Glacial Fissure out. Cabo backing away, takes a little too much here. Mithy's trying to hold strong. And he's able to for now. No one goes down just yet, but it was a close call for him. Vitality looking to try and Baron catch. Meanwhile, Power is making a power move on the mid, but Nukeduck is there to intercept.
Yeah, this is what Origen needs to do. Bait the engage and hope that it fails by Vitality. Sloppy engage, Temper's Fate did not connect anywhere. There was no double bomb. Other than that, there's no hard CC on Vitality. And then Origen can cross map. But sadly for them, the tower doesn't fall in the mid lane.
Get a sigh of relief to breathe, but they are still down 8,000 gold. Still need to find towers. They've only managed to take down that outer one. Remember, it took them even longer than it should have because they weren't able to get it in time with Vitality's quick lane swap.
Yeah, Origen right now, they have one tower. That's it right now. They're stuck. And that's a tower that started in the lane swap phase, so it's a worrying.
Don't say it.
Don't say it.
That's it. It's okay.
A worrying situation.
There we go. You saved it. Whew.
Worrying habit.
Yes, definitely a worrying habit for sure. Shook starting off Dragon number 3 would be for Vitality.
Yeah,
or could attempt to steal. It would give them a little bit of a boon here, that 6%. But they don't know what's happening, and they're not about to poke their noses in. Not with Cabochard around the bottom side with that explosive potential he brings to the party. Shook with a little bit of help from KaSing is going to be able to secure this one up. That's number 3. That's a movement speed now.
I'm a little disappointed though in Vitality in their closing. Only one sweeper, which means if they get one ward snuck in, they need to wait the full cooldown. Hang on, Power doesn't use ulti.
Uh-oh, double bombs and Tempered fades, and he just gets exploded!
I love that combo because against Bard, when you play it is really hard to time the Q after the Tempered Fate, especially if you play against dash champions. Like, by the time, if PowerOfEvil can double dash flash, hang on, more action here.
Yeah, amazing. Just stood there and took it, and now he's
did.
just completely chunked out. Heels are flying. Zven's unleashed a big, massive bunch of bullets, but now it's Soaz who gets caught up, and Cabo says, take me down. I've got an ult on. I've got another Guardian Angel, and Shook is gonna have to back away. That is a 2 for none, though. Vitality just flexing their muscles.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Back to that play. Tempered Fate into double bomb because you can never be quicker in your action than actual game mechanics. The second you come out, the millisecond you come out, the frame you come out of that Tempered Fate, you will just get instant double stuns because you pick up both bombs at once. KaSing here, under siege.
Desperation attempt to stop this one. Zven and Mithy were stunned up. They've got to flash and move away. KaSing has gone over the walls. The Baron has been deprioritized. Mithy's gone down. Shook gets the kill credit for that one, and he's got the Zilean ult on to keep himself alive. Power and amazing dashing in and back to try and save the life, but Cabochard will pick him up. It's only going to be Zven. He's out of the fight, and amazing is on the run here. This could be a 4-4-0 all said and done. The bombs are flying. He's got nowhere to go. Hjarnan gets the credit. Soaz is back up, but it's only 2 members. They can go right back to the Baron.
Yeah, these zoning bombs from Nukeduck cutting out every single escape path, forcing PowerOfEvil to flash in aggressively on top of the Graves, and then obviously dying, just leaving no room for counterplay. Vitality, playing like clockwork.
Like clockwork indeed. They take Baron off of that one. We'll see if their endgame comes in, but let's see how it all starts.
I mean, PowerOfEvil, you have to flash here. You can't disrespect that Bard opening. It's so simple, because you will get double bombed, and because you just picked him up immediately, you can't actually flash out. If there's a Bard Q, you are kind of victim to how good the Bard is, and if he has a little 0.10, 0.20 mistiming on the Bard Q, you will get out, you'll be able to flash at least. So as we engage here, look at the Zilean ulti too. It's what we described earlier. The hard engage is so telegraphed that unless Zilean gets hit himself, he will be able to ulti, bring up whoever gets hit. And here we go.
Have a fancy new graphic as Zven goes down and Mithy. This is our wonderful new way to track the Baron power play in real time. Still on 5 members, as you can see. Just shy of 2,000 gold up. Now it's gone to that. Still taken away for 2 minutes.
Alright, so because the game is pretty kind of snowballing out of control, let's call it that way, we can just introduce that graphic real quick. Top left of your corner, Baron power play. The red team currently has Baron. It counts down from 3 minutes down to 0, and we track up the change in gold differential. So how much more gold you get because you get the Baron. It starts at 1,500 gold. And then, of course, if you kill towers, you get more. If you get kills, you get more. If you die, you obviously get less because the enemy team gets gold. There is an additional timer. Hang on. Hjarnan, let me speak. Don't fight, guys. We're introducing Baron power play. Okay, the last bit before they kind of ace the enemy.
Go for it.
The timer in the top right is if somebody has Runic Affinity and extends that Baron buff for a couple of seconds more. Luckily, they did not fight. That is the Baron power play.
And there we have it. So, while all that was going on, we have 2 inhibitors taken down. 1 in the mid, 1 in the bottom, as Vitality just continue to decimate Origen's base. So few things they can do here. That gold lead, about 14,000. You can see it was extended by 4 with the Baron so far. They're making great use of that, and they're using their poke comp, they're using their superior vision. Vitality are running a clinic on Origen this game.
Yeah, these type of compositions leave generally the opposing team with a very predictable answer. That is very risky. It is hard engage. You gotta nail it. Shook here is the bomb, has to retreat. Origen looking
around the side
to defuse the situation, but it's really tough against Baron.
Oh, there's Soaz coming in, looks for Shook, but there's the Zilean ult. Bombs are flying even further. It is just getting ridiculous right now.
Going in back on Shook. Again, really clutch Zilean ultimate. They're from Nuke there. Mithy forced to flash and not get double bound. KaSing eats the charm. Tower goes down though. 3rd inhibitor looking to go down.
Yeah, it's too much damage. There's too many strong members on Vitality. Origen are running out of space. They're backed against the cliff. Cabo has got to back out, and he's able to do it. The Malmorty is coming in handy there. The rest of Origen are starting to look quite battered and bruised. Amazing dashing out, and PowerOfEvil dashing back as well. Teleport is on the last turret, but it will fall. Super minions coming in. This is it. Vitality 32 minutes and 15 seconds. And they earned it. Enjoy a nice little group hug all around, but they pretty much hit their average, hit their par, and guess what? They're 7-3 on the split.
7-3 and in an utterly convincing fashion. And we often say who wins a Champ Select, and many people say you can't win a game in Champ Select, but you can at least put yourself in a position where it becomes very hard for the opposing team to do anything if you get a lead, and that's what Vitality did with this composition. Origen in the entire game got 1 kill and 1 tower. That was it.
Yeah, really, really rough game for them. But for Vitality, just every role played fantastically. They outclassed this Origen squad. You can see those big smiles. Sean's, I talked a little bit of smack, but he backed it up, and his team had him backed up 100% of the way. Vitality ends their week on a 2-0.
Yeah, and that Zilean pick, we were all expecting the LeBlanc kind of pick, because that's usually what we see. In this draft, if it went expectedly, we would have seen the early Ahri come out, the counter pick LeBlanc, a forced top laner from Soaz, and then a counter pick from Cabochard, and then they would duke it out, see if Shook can camp, but they surprised us all by copying the Zilean. Went for the Thunderlords for the early dueling, did not care about having more power and speed in these late game team fights with the Storm Raider surge, just pure strength, pure trading potential, won the lane, won the push, which is in essence at this meta game, winning the lane.
Absolutely.
Push mid, push top, push bot, Nidalee jungle. Yeah, at that point, it gets rough.
Oh, yes, it does. For now, though, we're going to send it to Pulse on stage for some insight.